friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 16th of September, also happens to be the World Ozone Day. That is, on this date in the year 1987, the Montreal Protocol was signed, which called for the reducing, or I would say eliminating, the use of the ozone depleting substances, CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbon, was one among them. That agreement is considered to be one of the most successful international agreements because uh, it was adhered to by all the countries, whether developed, developing, or underdeveloped. And collectively, we were successful in reversing the depletion of ozone layer. And, that is why it is called as one of the most successful international treaties. But yes, today we will not be, doing anything substantial with respect to World Ozone Day. We will be discussing three topics, out of which two topics are in news. The first is Ayushman Bharat for senior citizens. Now, this particular scheme, which gives insurance of 5 lakh rupees per family without paying any premium, is being extended to the senior citizens, that is aged above 70 years, irrespective of their incomes. Means all the citizens, whether rich, middle class, or poor, above the age of 70 are eligible for this particular scheme. If they are having a private insurance, on top of that, they are eligible for this. And they are also eligible for a top up. Well, this calls for the actual social security which the increasing age-old population of India needs. India's old age population currently is the second highest in the world after China, and it is increasing. Around, 15%, 12 to 15% of India's population is in the old age bracket, that is 60 years and above. Next is sport player named as Sri Vijay Puram. This Sri Vijayapuram, the naming was done as part of shedding off or shedding away the colonial legacies. This was a step taken by the government of India since Andaman and Nicobar Islands is a union territory. Else, if it would have been a state, then it is the prerogative of the state governments to change the names of cities. To change the name of states is the prerogative of central government as per Article 3 of the Constitution. So this needs to be taken care of. And then today we will be discussing SDG 6. This is part of our theme. And SDG 6 is ensure safe drinking water, sanitation and hygiene. Obviously, we will see the status at the world level, at the global level. Then obviously we'll zero down on to India. Government of India has launched the Jal Jeevan Mission, which ensures safe drinking water to households through functional household tap connections in rural areas. The target here is that by 2024, 100% coverage has to be done. But let's see how it gets covered. For the urban areas, there is this Amrut 2.0, that is Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, under which we have a component of providing safe drinking water in the urban households. So with this, we're going to cover the entire country by, giving them functional household tap connections through these two, I would say, schemes of the government. So let us get started with this Ayushman Bharat for senior citizens. Now, there's a term called as social security. Social security basically stands for when a person is secure, having access to pensions as well as insurance, so that the person is not, I would say, vulnerable in difficult situations. Like, for example, the person has fallen ill. So, insurance can take care of the expenses. Out of pocket expenditure reduces, kind of security is there. So the government of India is wanting to give this social security benefits to maximum people in the country. This is how the government or the state is willing to or wanting to act. And now this time the central government has come up with its, with an update in its flagship program for, I would say, health insurance, that is Ayushman Bharat. Actually, Ayushman Bharat Yojana, now known as Ayushman Arogya Mandir, has two components. The first component is Jan Arogya Yojana, Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana, which gives insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees without paying premium to every family who is eligible. And this insurance cover is for secondary and tertiary level of medical treatments. For the primary, the Ayushman Bharat has the second component, that is the health and wellness centers. Primary treatment is nevertheless free of cost. The aim is those primary healthcare centers, which are now known as health and wellness centers, which are the second component of Ayushman Bharat Yojana, their capacities should increase, good infrastructure should be there, availability of services and all should be ample. So Ayushman Bharat as a composite scheme, if we see, it is targeting primary sector as well as secondary and tertiary sector. Primary sector, building the capacities, improving infrastructure and all over there. Secondary and tertiary, obviously improving infrastructure and all is the focus of the government, but primarily Ayushman Bharat Yojana deals with giving insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees per family for secondary and tertiary healthcare treatments. This is how we have to look at this particular Yojana. And here, an upgrade is that all the senior citizens above 70 years of age, irrespective of income, are having access to Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana. Means they will be getting this insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees per family. Coverage aims to benefit 4.5 crore families with 6 crore senior citizens with 5 lakh rupees free health insurance cover on a family basis. Free insurance cover means no premium has to be paid for getting access to this 5 lakh rupees cover. Eligible senior citizens would be issued a new distinct card under Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. A separate card will be there for the senior citizens. Senior citizens of the age of 70 years and above belonging to the families already covered under Ayushman Bharat PMJAY to get an additional top-up cover up to rupees 5 lakh per annum for themselves. So top-up is also available of rupees 5 lakh. Senior citizens of the age 70 years and above who are already availing benefits of other public health insurance schemes may either choose their existing scheme or opt for Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. If they are already using some public healthcare scheme like CGHS and all is there, central government health system and all is there, so then they will have to choose. But if they are using a private insurance scheme, then that the private scheme can continue and this Jan Arogya Yojana cover of 5 lakh rupees can be added in that. That is what we need to understand. So why in news? The Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana has been expanded to cover all Indians aged 70 years and older. The condition is all, irrespective of all the incomes. This expansion, approved by the Union Cabinet, marks a significant milestone in India's healthcare policy. Registration for the expanded scheme is expected to start within a week. So probably by this week, this is going to start, and let's see how it turns out to be. Now about the scheme, Ayushman Bharat program was launched in the year 2018. Covers all the levels, primary, secondary and tertiary. For primary, we have the health and wellness centers. Primary treatment is actually free of cost already. There's no need of insurance over there. The aim is to strengthen the capacity of the primary healthcare centers, which are now known as health and wellness centers, because this is the second component of this Pradhan Mantri, I would say, Ayushman Bharat scheme. The secondary and tertiary are covered under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, which is the second component, which is the first component of this scheme, that is Ayushman Bharat scheme. It is giving insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees for secondary and tertiary. Ayushman Bharat is an integrated approach comprising health insurance and primary, secondary and tertiary healthcare. Targeted beneficiaries 12 crore households already there, but now 4.5 crore families are expected to be added more in this. So it will be somewhere around 16-17 crore families getting benefited out of this scheme, and this is going to be the world's largest healthcare coverage scheme. Now about Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana, which is the first component, which is providing insurance cover for secondary and tertiary. Launch date September 2018. Objective: provide secondary and tertiary healthcare services to vulnerable populations. Features: coverage up to 5 lakh per family per year for hospitalization, and for this you have to pay zero premium. Target audience: poor and vulnerable families, covering around 40% of the population. Eligibility: 10.7 crore families based on socio-economic caste census data are eligible for this particular insurance scheme. Benefits, cashless services. Beneficiaries get cashless access to healthcare services, include surgeries, medical treatments, daycare treatments, medicines, and diagnostics. It also includes travel to the hospital via ambulances and all. That is also covered. Implementation, National Health Authority, responsible for strategy, technological infrastructure, and National Digital Health Mission. And under this National Digital Health Mission, they have launched this Ayushman Bharat Health Accounts, ABHA. It is a digital account where your all the medical history will be saved. And you know, you don't need to carry your documents or reports anywhere. You just have to tell the ABHA number, and the hospitals will input your ABHA number and they will have access to all your medical history. That is it. This is going to happen in the next few years. We will see. State health agencies implement the scheme at the state levels. About health and wellness centers, HWCs, which are there for primary healthcare. HWCs are being created by converting the existing primary health centers and sub centers. Comprehensive primary health care, including a child and maternal health services, non-communicable diseases, and also diagnostic services and free essential drugs are also given and in these centers, health and wellness centers. So vaccination programs, or I would say maternity, like pregnancy, during pregnancy, a woman can go and consult the gynecologist over there. Deliveries are also possible. All these things are there in the health and wellness centers. And the basic, I would say, illnesses like fever, stomach ache, upset stomach, diarrhea, and all, they are also getting treated over there. HWCs are important because they offer CPHC, that is critical to enhancing health outcomes. If this is strong, then there will be less burden on secondary and tertiary level. That is also, one interlinkage in the three levels of healthcare services. So it is like this: primary healthcare plays a vital role in preventing many disease conditions. Providing CPHC decreases morbidity and mortality at lower cost and greatly reduces the requirement for secondary and tertiary care. That is why I'm saying that it reduces the burden over there. Now, this current expansion simply means 70 years and above. What kind of thought process was there of the central government before extending this to 70 years and old? And what are the basic statistics over here? We'll see. Registration process: individuals who have turned 70 as per their Aadhaar can register for the new health cover. Registration methods: through the Ayushman Bharat app, at the Ayushman Bharat counter at any government health facility. Features: no exclusions or waiting period for pre-existing conditions. So, if there is a pre-existing condition like anyone has diabetes, so that person will also be covered. There's no such kind of conditions and all, which are obviously there in the private healthcare insurance schemes. So if a person is a heart patient, insurance is very difficult, not possible most of the time. But here, no such precondition can impact you getting the insurance. Registration will include eKYC with face authorization to assist elderly individuals whose fingerprints may be difficult to read. So that is an alternate method which they have found out. Coverage details: annual cover 5 lakh rupees per elderly individual shared within the family. Example, if two elderly members are in a household, the 5 lakh cover is split between them. It is not for per individual, it is per family cover. Top up cover: elderly members of already covered families will receive an additional 5 lakh rupees top up exclusive to elderly care. They will need to re-register to access this top up. Beneficiary statistics: total coverage, the scheme will cover approximately 6 crore individuals from 4.5 crore families. So around 16 crore families in India will be benefited if this all families come into this domain of, or I would say another ambit of, this Jan Arogya Yojana, extended Jan Arogya Yojana for the 70 years and plus. Out of these, 1.78 crore already are covered. So let's see how many extra get covered. But yes, this is some good news for the elderly population. Existing health schemes, coverage options. It is integrated with other schemes. Beneficiaries with other public health insurance, example CGHS, CCHS, can either continue their existing schemes or opt for the expanded Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana coverage. So it is like you can choose either these public sector schemes which are already being availed by you or this. New health cards. Senior citizens will receive new health cards for streamlined access to benefits. There will be a separate card for them. Private insurance. Individuals with private insurance can also avail of the Ayushman Bharat cover. So, private insurance, if you have, that will remain. Additional to that, you can get benefits under this new added, I would say, Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana. Government cost, the initial cost for expanding the scheme is 3,437 crore rupees, covering 6 months of current financial year and the entire next year. States will contribute 40% to the scheme's cost. So it is a centrally sponsored scheme. It is not only the onus of the central government, but state governments will also be contributing in it. Significance of this expansion, basically demographic shift. As of 2011 census, 8.6% of India's population was over 60. By 2050, this is expected to be 19.5% with 319 million people over 60. The elderly are more likely to require hospitalization with a higher admission rate compared to younger population. Yes, cardiovascular diseases, mental diseases, or I would say lifestyle diseases like diabetes and all. So all these kind of things lead to, increased amount of medical care required for the elderly people, and elderly population is increasing. See, 2011 census, 8.6% of India's population was old. Now, I would say somewhere around 12% India's population is old. By 2050, it is going to be 19.5%. It's around somewhere around 20% of India's population will be old. The current coverage, about 20% of the elderly population is covered by any health scheme. Women constitute a larger share of the elderly population, with 58% being women and 54% of them widows. Life expectancy rate for females is higher than males. So we have more number of widows also. This is a universal phenomenon. So they are going to be benefited, or I would say major beneficiaries, or the best beneficiaries will be them, the widows. Now next piece of news is Port Blair renamed as Sri Vijayapura. So on September 13, the Union Minister Amit Shah announced that Port Blair, the capital of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, will be renamed as Sri Vijayapura. Reason for change? Union Minister Amit Shah stated that the renaming is inspired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision to free the nation from colonial imprints. Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, they all have been replaced by, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita or Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. This is another example of, getting rid of the colonial legacy. Here is another example of getting rid of the colonial legacy. Amit Shah emphasized that the new name symbolizes victory in the freedom struggle and acknowledges the Andaman and Nicobar Islands' unique role in the context. So, last month's Yojana magazine, we covered about this, where this cellular jail was there. Kala Pani ki saja used to happen, and that jail was in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The new name reflects the historical and cultural significance of the region, connecting it with India's imperial past. The history of Port Blair, this I would say this place was named after Archibald Blair. Archibald Blair was a naval surveyor in the Bombay Marines. Survey significance: Blair's detailed survey of Andaman Islands was crucial for the city's establishment. That is why the city, that is Port Blair, the capital city, is named after him, Archibald Blair. Archibald Blair's early career and survey missions. Blair began his service in the Bombay Marine in 1771, undertaking surveys along the coasts of India, Iran, and Arabia. Notable surveys: his missions included the Chagos Archipelago, Diamond Harbour, and the Hooghly River. These were basically notable surveys done by Archibald Blair. Then, history of imperial Chola engagement with the Andaman Islands and Sri Vijaya. So, Chola campaign in the 11th century, Chola Emperor Rajendra I used the Andaman Islands as a base for his campaign against Sri Vijaya Empire. Sri Vijaya Empire was there in the present day Indonesia. Why this Cholas? Basically, India's history is known for having, amicable relations with Southeast Asian countries, peaceful, harmonious relations. But this is one among the very few campaigns, or one among the very few attacks done by Indian rulers on the Southeast Asian nations. The reason largely is understood to be that the Cholas were feeling a threat to their, naval routes, their trade routes. Second, they wanted to expand also their empire. So when they were looking towards the eastern side, they found this Southeast Asia. And they used Andaman and Nicobar Islands as a launch pad for their operations against, or for their, I would say, attacks against, countries like countries in Southeast Asia like Indonesia, present day Indonesia. It is somewhere around 90 kilometers only from this Andaman and Nicobar Islands, 90 nautical miles, sorry, from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So this is how it is. So Chola kingdom used it against or to attack the Sri Vijaya Empire. Cholas referred to the island as Ma Nakavaram. Ma Nakavaram basically has influenced the name Nicobar. So Nicobar has come from Nakavaram. The Cholas called this island as Ma Nakavaram. Invasion Rajendra I's campaign against Srivijaya marked a rare direct conflict in India's otherwise peaceful interactions with Southeast Asia. The end result of this conflict was the Cholas won the, I would say, battle, the war against Srivijaya. So it is like this. In Indian freedom struggle, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on December 29, 1943, Bose arrived at Port Blair, hoisting the national flag for the first time on the Indian soil and declaring the Andaman and Nicobar Island as India's first liberated territory. Sankalp Smarak, a memorial dedicated to this event, was established on December 29, 2021, marking 78 years since the Bose's historic visit over there in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, during our freedom struggle also, this has a significance attached to it. Now, some facts about Port Blair and other islands also in the region, because this is not the first, I would say, place in Andaman and Nicobar Islands which has been renamed. So I'll be showing you other places which have been renamed as well in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So first of all, Port Blair, now Sri Vijayapuram, is the capital of Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the headquarters of South Andaman District. Military importance, it hosts major military installations, including the Indian Navy's INS Jarava and various bases for Indian Coast Guard and other forces. Now, if we see the places over there in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Ross Island was the old name. It has been renamed as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Dweep. Now, why is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Dweep? Because he was there in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. He was the first Indian to hoist the Indian flag over there and declare this as the first freed territory from the Britishers in 1943. Then we have Port Blair, Sri Vijayapuram. Now this name has been changed. Neil Island, the name has been changed to Shahid Dweep. Havelock Island, the name has been changed to Swaraj Dweep. So we need to know these old names and new names. It will be important. This was covered by the Hindu in the newspaper. So that is why that is important. So in a union territory or in a state, the the name of a city, if it has to be changed, the ultimate authority lies with the state government. If in a UT, the name of a city or place has to be changed, the ultimate authority obviously lies with the central government. This proposition is given by or initiated from the urban local bodies of those respective cities. From there, it is gone to the higher authorities in state, the state government, in case of UT, the central government, and hence this name change is effected. Now, the third topic, that is the theme which we are covering these days, the SDG 6, which ensures safe drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene. Now, why is this important? It is important because, you know, it helps us remain healthy. It helps us remain free from diseases like diarrhea or cholera. These are all waterborne diseases. This helps us because, women go to fetch water, and due to climate change, global warming happening, the availability of fresh water is reducing. The per capita availability of water is reducing. And women almost spend half a day in fetching water. And then they have to, manage the entire day with that limited amount of water in their homes. Water is a basic necessity for survival. And this leads to, loss of, I would say, incomes for the women, because half day is spent over there in gathering water. And that is the first half of the day, most probably. So they're not able to work. They're not able to add to the incomes of their families, to their households. That is a problem. When they go to fetch waters, they are prone to sexual abuse also. That is also a cause of, I would say, women empowerment not happening, or a linkage between non-availability of water, and women status of women. So multiple things are attached to this. And that is why this has been included as a specific goal as under the SDGs, that is SDG 6. Safe drinking water, sanitation and hygiene. It is still out of reach for billions. In 2022, 2.2 billion people lacked safely managed drinking water. 3.5 billion people lacked safely managed sanitation. Having access to toilets and all was a big problem. 2.2 billion people lacked basic hand washing facilities. And all these are leading to, I would say, diseases. To meet 2030 targets, pace of progress will have to accelerate. 6 times drinking water, 5 times sanitation, 3 times hygiene. Then only we will be able to meet the targets by 2022. 2.4 billion people live in water stressed countries. This is the figure of 2020. 81% of species dependent on inland wetlands have declined since 1970. That is disturbing. Integrated water resources management implementation needs acceleration. So that is what we need to understand. And this is not a problem of India only, but this is a problem of the world. India has launched programs like the Swachh Bharat Mission and all, which aims to give access to sanitation facilities to the people, build toilets in their homes, and the global community has acknowledged India's Swachh Bharat Mission, where India has built toilets and reduced the expenditure on healthcare. The World Health Organization, United Nations, all have acknowledged India's Swachh Bharat Mission, and very lately, this acknowledgement has also come. The goal 6 targets. What are the goal 6 targets like? 6. 1. By 2030, achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. Equitable access simply means the places where water availability is very less or not, more focus should be there. By 2030, achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all and open defecation. So we have to end open defecation. And India has substantially, gone very far on this. ODF status is achieved by all the rural areas in India and urban areas in India. We are now wanting for open defecation free ODF plus, in which we are targeting zero defecation in the open, plus whatever waste is being generated, we are treating them before releasing it. In some places, we are targeting ODF plus plus also. That is, ODF plus plus is zero defecation in the open, treating it and reusing it. The circular economy we are wanting to create. The ODF achieved everywhere. ODF plus and ODF plus plus we are aiming to achieve by 2029. By 2030, improve water quality by reducing pollution, eliminating dumping, minimizing the release of hazardous chemicals and materials, having proportions of untreated wastewater, and substantially increasing recycling and safe reuse. So by 2030, next goal, substantially increase water use efficiency across all sectors and ensure sustainable withdrawals and supply of fresh water to address water scarcity. So wastage of water should be reduced, and for that purpose, the sanitary hardware and all should be in line with that. By 2030, implement integrated water resources management at all levels, including through transboundary cooperation as appropriate. So, like river sharing and all is done between multiple countries like India, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and India, China also, India, Pakistan also. So, we need to take into account that as well, because that sharing should be appropriate. Next is by 2030, it is protect and restore water related ecosystems, including mountains, forests, wetlands, rivers, aquifers, and lakes. Next is by 2030, expand international cooperation and capacity building support to developing countries so that water harvesting, desalination, water efficiency, wastewater treatment, recycling, and reuse technologies can be there. And last is support and strengthen the participation of local communities in improving water and sanitation management. So, this is what we need to see, but the current situation does not seem so promising with respect to I would say, this particular entire goal. There are multiple reasons behind that. Primary is climate change and global warming happening, which is worsening the situation. So, water demand versus population growth. Water demand has outpaced population growth. Half of the world's population experiences severe water scarcity for at least 1 month each year. This issue is expected to worsen due to rising global temperatures and climate change. Recent progress between 2015 and 2022, access to safely managed drinking water increased from 69% to 73%. Why is it important? Access to water, sanitation, and hygiene. Why is it important? It is basically a human right, basic necessity for survival. That is increasing sector-wide investments and capacity building. We have to do it. We the universal access if we have to uh, give to the people. So what we will have to do if we have to give access of this human rights to the people. So first we will have to increase sector-wide investment and capacity building, promoting innovation and evidence-based actions, enhancing cross-sectoral coordination and cooperation among all stakeholders, adopting a more integrated and holistic approach to water management. Water is important not only for health but also for poverty reduction, food security, peace, human rights, ecosystems, and education. And there's a popular saying and belief also that if World War III will happen, it will happen on the issue of water. I don't know about this too much, but yes, there is this belief which is existing, and that is, you know, what we need to understand and know. The challenge is in 2022, 2.2 billion people lacked safely managed drinking water, with 703 million lacking even a basic water service. 3.5 billion people lacked safely managed sanitation, including 1.5 billion without basic sanitation services. 2 billion people lacked a basic hand washing facility, with 653 million having no hand washing facility at all. So these are the challenges. Water management impact. Sustainable water management improves food production, energy efficiency, economic growth, and ecosystem preservation. But unfortunately, we are not able to do this sustainable water management. Effective water management also aids addressing climate change. So this has to be done. Link between water and climate change. Water availability is increasing, unpredictable, with droughts exacerbating water scarcity in many regions. Sustainable water and sanitation services are critical for climate change mitigation. So, these things we need to look. The challenges are there, and the challenges can increase and intensify in the times to come. Some facts and figures. Universal coverage targets. If we have to cover universal coverage targets by 2030, it requires a six-fold increase for drinking water, a five-fold increase for sanitation, and threefold increase for hygiene. Water use efficiency increased by 9%, but water stress remains high. In 2020, 2.4 billion people lived in water stressed countries. Only 0.5% of Earth's water is usable and available fresh water. Global urban population projected to face water scarcity, increasing from 930 million in 2016-17 to 1.7 to 2.4 billion by 2050. Surface water changes. 1 in 5 river basins shows high fluctuations in surface water levels over the past 5 years. Water pollution continues to be a significant challenge to human health and the environment. So, this all has been problematic for or with respect to water, and the same is in India. you know in India, the per capita availability of water is very less. It is half that of China. China has built huge network of dams and all, which India obviously has not. A lot of India's fresh water, which is flowing through the rivers of India, falls into the oceans, the Arabian Sea on one side, Bay of Bengal on the other side. That is, it can be tapped, but it is not tapped. So we have to do this, and we have to undertake one major project if we have to achieve this goal. That is interlinking of rivers. Interlinking of rivers can massively reduce the water stress, increase the availability of fresh water. So what is the use of that fresh water falling into the oceans? Nothing. Na? Why? Why can't we do it? If we are building highways, can't we build canals? If we are planning to build, a bullet train, can't we build canals and link rivers? Definitely we can. The intent should be there. Obviously, ecological sensitivity and all should be taken into account. But yes, we have done that in the past. We have, diverted canals from the Ganga river system or the Indus river system, and they have proved beneficial for us. So we can do it in the entire country. We can replicate it. So let's see what is there in India with respect to this goal. 75.75% of rural households receive safe and adequate drinking water through piped water supply. That is basically the result of Jal Jeevan Mission, and this has to be increased to 100% in the rural households. 94.7% schools have functional toilet for girls, separate toilet for boys and separate toilet for girls. This is very good. This was part of this Swachh Bharat mission also, because building separate toilet for girls in schools. Then 59.26% net available groundwater withdrawn in 2021-22. 11.23% blocks, mandals, taluks overexploited. 100% districts verified as open defecation free. I already told you. 100% household household toilets constructed under Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin, independent household home toilets, like it is like this. 99.29% rural households have access to improved source of drinking water now. So this is, we are performing substantially well on this particular SDG, surprisingly. But yes, a lot needs to be done, and that is going to be there in the next 4-5 years. SDG and India, the objective of SDG: ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Targets by 2030: universal access to safe and affordable drinking water for all, access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene facilities, improve water quality by reducing pollution, increase water use efficiency across all sectors, and protect and restore water related ecosystems. So this all we have to do, and we are increasing the number of wetlands in the Ramsar sites. We have now around 80 wetlands listed, 81 wetlands listed in the Ramsar sites, out of which many are freshwater wetlands. We are listing them in as Ramsar sites simply mean that we are increasing the conservation efforts for them, because we need water, and this is how we can get water from those freshwater wetlands also, if they are conserved properly. SDG 6 index score. What is the SDG 6 index score? States ranges from 60 to 100. Union territories ranges from 73 to 100. Top performers: Goa 100, UTs Andaman and Nicobar Islands 100. Front runners: 26 states and 7 UTs. Performers: 1 state. Aspirants: no states or UTs. So front runners are 26 states, 7 UTs, and performers is 1 state. That is, we are performing really well on this particular goal. Now, key highlights: access to piped water supply. Current coverage as of May 2024, 75.75% of rural households are having access to piped drinking water. Means they're getting water in their respective households through a functional household tap connection. Target Jal Jeevan Mission: 100% coverage by 2024. Top achievers: 8 states and 3 UTs have 100% coverage now. Lowest coverage is West Bengal, 46.64%, and that is concerning. That needs to increase. Access to improved sources of drinking water. Current coverage: 99.29% of rural households. Top achievers: 14 states and 6 UTs with 100% coverage. Lowest coverage: Assam. That needs to improve. That is 93.17. We need to cover the gap, that is somewhere around 7%, but yes, we need to cover. Individual household toilets. All states and UTs have met the targets for individual household toilets. Open defecation free districts. All districts verified as ODF as of 2022. Schools with functional girls toilet. National average 94.7%. Top performer: Goa 100%. UTs Chandigarh, Delhi, Lakshadweep, Puducherry 100%. Lowest coverage Arunachal Pradesh 68%. Arunachal Pradesh needs to catch up. Stage of groundwater extraction. National average 59.26% is within the safe limit. Best performer Arunachal Pradesh 0.42% extraction. Over extraction states: Haryana, Punjab, obviously the food bowl of India. Definitely a lot of industries also here in Haryana. Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Chandigarh, Delhi, Puducherry, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu. Worst performer Punjab, 163.76% is extracted. Means the amount, let's suppose we are adding 100 liters, we are extracting 163 liters. That is what it means, 163%. Over exploited blocks. Current status 2023, 11.23% of blocks, mandals, talukas over exploited. Target: reduce to 0. We have to reduce it to 0. Top performers, 15 states and 5 UTs have achieved the target so far. Worst performer, here also Punjab, 76.47% overexploited blocks. Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, 100% overexploited. 100% overexploited. That is concerning for this UT. So that is it from the SDG 6 point of view. Rural areas, we are doing Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin and Jal Jeevan Mission for improving the sanitation and water availability respectively. In urban areas, we are implementing Swachh Bharat Mission Urban for sanitation and Amrut 2.0 for improving the water supply to the urban households. These things we need to understand and know with respect to this SDG. Now coming to the MCQs. First is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The Jan Arogya Yojana provides an insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees per family per annum for primary, secondary and tertiary healthcare needs. Second is the health and wellness centers aim to cater to primary healthcare needs, including rolling out Government of India's universal immunization program. Which among these statements are true? You have to find it out. Second is consider the following statements and mark how many of them are correct. Ayushman Bharat is extended to all the elderly population above 70 years of age in the country. If the individual above 70 years of age is having a private insurance, then that individual will not be eligible for the benefits under Ayushman Bharat. India's old age population is increasing and is the second highest in the world currently. So only one statement is correct, only two statement is correct, or two statements are correct. All the statements are correct or none of the statements are correct. Third question, who has the ultimate authority to change the name of a city in any state of India? Urban local body, government of India, state government or the president of India? Which of the following is correctly matched? Fourth question. Old name Ross Island, new name Swaraj Deep. Old name Neil Island, new name Shahid Dweep. You have to answer this. Fifth is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Jal Jeevan Mission aims at supplying fresh water in homes in rural areas only. Availability of clean water can lead to increase in household savings. Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Now the MCQs of 13th September. The answers to this have to be discussed. Which of these lead to antimicrobial resistance in humans? Antimicrobial resistance, when the bacteria become resistant to any antibiotics which we are consuming for the treatment. The overuse of drugs, yes. Unauthorized, unprescribed usage of drugs, yes. Use of superbugs, no. Actually, this is not making any sense actually. Superbugs are those bacteria which are disease causing in our body and they become resistant to the antibiotics. So, use of superbugs is not making any sense over here. So, only 1 and 2 are going to be the correct options. Hence, C is the correct option for this. Second, which of the following are leading to increase in AMR, that is antimicrobial resistance? Infections by superbugs? Yes. Pharmaceutical pollution, those companies which are manufacturing these antibiotics, they end up releasing these waste in the water bodies and all, and we consume either the water from those water bodies or maybe the fisheries, and that antibiotic in some way or the other enters our body. That can lead to slowly and gradually antimicrobial resistance in our body. Lack of diagnostic based prescriptions, yes. The doctors, they do not go for diagnostics every time, they just prescribe antibiotics even if they are not needed. So all the three, all of the above are true for this, leading to increase in AMR. Third, consider the following statements with respect to India UAE relations and mark the correct one. India and UAE signed SEPA in 2022. Yes. Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement 2022 is correct. UAE has invested in phase 1 and 2 of Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserves Limited. Actually, this statement is wrong because it has not invested in phase 1 and it is investing in phase 2. Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC, is that company which is investing in phase 2, which is coming up in Visakhapatnam and Padur. So, only one is correct. A is going to be the right answer for this particular question. Fourth question, which of the countries is not part of India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor? UAE is part of it. From India, this goes to UAE. Saudi Arabia, high-speed freight trains will be there. Israel, Haifa port, yes, it is part of it. Egypt is not part of India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor because We are bypassing the Suez Canal, and Suez Canal is in Egypt through this IMEC. So how can Egypt be part of it? As of now, it is not part of it. Consider the following statements with respect to SDG 4 and mark the correct one. SDG 4 focuses upon increasing enrollment without equity. Learning outcomes are not part of SDG 4. It focuses on increasing enrollment in educational institutes with equity. This is wrong. Learning outcomes are not part of SDG 4. They are very well part of SDG 4. It focuses on increasing learning outcomes as well. So both these statements are wrong, and hence D is going to be the correct option for this particular question. Now with this, we come to an end of today's session. I'll be seeing you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Not repeating it today. Namaste. Jai Hind.